Welcome, Fohrcast, episode number 9. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to just jump right into things, and we are going to talk about Khloé Kardashian. Okay, this week's sponsored post of the week is Khloé Kardashian for Febreze. This is the second post in the partnership that she has done. I want to talk broadly about the Khloé Kardashian Febreze partnership in general, a little bit about the first post, which was absolutely terrible, a little bit about the second post, which was still terrible, but they did improve a few things. Now, the first post, which we're seeing here, I talked briefly on Twitter about this post when it came out in February, which is like very quaint to think February 26th, a bunch of people on Twitter cared about Khloé Kardashian and Febreze, and we were like 2 weeks away from the world completely crumbling. But at the time, this mattered, and I was fired up about it. It got me thinking and talking about what we talk about internally as an authenticity gap, right? That like anytime you do a sponsored post, especially if that sponsored post is outside of your area of expertise or outside of what your audience knows you to talk about, there is what we call internally an authenticity gap. The audience doesn't automatically buy what you're saying because they know it's an ad. For me, this was a big problem with Khloé Kardashian and Febreze because anytime the Kardashians talk about something, there's a huge authenticity gap, right? Because you just know they're getting paid at least $500,000 to talk about that thing. For Khloé to be like, oh, I use Febreze all the time on my bed, who the f believes that? Let me step back and talk quickly about the difference between like an ambassador post and celebrity endorsements, right? Celebrity endorsements have always taken a really famous, well-known figure, and the brand has thought, if I associate my brand with that well-known figure, the love of that person will transfer to our product and we will get more sales. And what is so great about influencer marketing, when it is done well, it feels like a person you trust is giving you a recommendation about a product that they have a lot of experience and knowledge about. You're a beauty influencer and you say, I love this foundation. I trust you because you know a lot about foundation. But when that influencer, talks about Febreze, let's say, you have to work harder. You have to tell a better story to bring your audience along and have them buy it. Buy it meaning believe what you're talking about. And that is the authenticity gap. My problem with the post is it didn't address that gap and it didn't tell a story to try and make the audience believe that she actually used Febreze. Now, when I posted this, people were like, oh, if you watch the show, she's a total neat freak. It makes sense that she's doing something for Febreze. But I don't watch the show. The 120 million people that follow her don't watch the show because the show does not have 120 million viewers or it wouldn't just get canceled. And Febreze and Khloé had to do a better job telling the story about how she's a neat freak to make the post land. Cut, clips from Keeping Up with the Kardashians of every time she cleaned, make a super cut, and start there. Okay, now let's move on to the second post. This is what we're really talking about, okay? They posted again, and this time it was a giveaway. You too could win a bottle of Febreze that's bedazzled. And right, this was one of my problems with the first post, is that there was a link in it, in the caption. If you copy and pasted the link and put it in, it went to a landing page. You couldn't even buy the bedazzled bottle. Okay, kind of funny, I guess, if you can buy it, but you couldn't even buy it. You can like or comment on this post and you can enter to win a bedazzled Febreze bottle. How exciting, right? Not that exciting. The story for her is, when you spray Febreze daily like I do, I don't believe you. How are you making me believe that? Because I don't, right? This is probably less Khloé's fault. I just don't think this is a really thought through concept. Can you do something else? You've got this big celebrity, what are you doing to make this interesting? They got 35,000 comments. That was how you entered to win, right? 35,000 comments. She makes probably about $600,000 minimum per post. That means they paid $17 for each person who commented. Now, hold please. A bottle of Febreze is $5. Febreze probably makes, let's say they make $2.50. So Tim is a math major. What is $17 divided by 250, you think? Back of the napkin. Seven.
Check out the big brain on
Tim.
For each of the 35,000 people who entered, they will have to buy 7 bottles of Febreze to make that post worth it. It honestly might have been the right partner if she is a clean freak. She's got a huge influence, and you cannot tell me that 35,000 entries for a contest that you paid probably $600,000 for is a good deal. And I think as influencers, it is a great example of what not to do and why you need to really be trying hard and go above and beyond on your campaigns. Remember last week, the post we talked about? She completely went above and beyond. The engagement far exceeded a normal post. And then you have this, it just missed. This stuff isn't that easy. It's not about just getting someone to post. You need to have a strategy. Febreze, if you'd like to come bring that $600,000 over to Fohr, we will kill it. And I promise we will get better results than this post. Let's move on to the show. Question number 1, is it a worthwhile endeavor to try and migrate audiences from one platform to the other? Every platform has its own audience. They like different things. They are on the platform for different reasons. You know how we talk about on Instagram how I say that before you hit 50,000 followers, if you can, I would focus on growth of your account rather than making money on it. Because you want to try and build it up and figure out what you're doing and get people invested and involved before you try and make money on it. It's kind of similar when you're building an audience on another platform. If you're new to TikTok, focus on your TikTok audience, right? And as you grow that and you get that to a place where you're starting to feel good about, then I think you can migrate. I think the people who are gonna migrate are gonna migrate. They're gonna be like, oh, this person's hilarious. I love following them on TikTok. I'm gonna go find their Instagram. Or I love the TikToks that this influencer I follow on Instagram is posting on their stories. I'm gonna find them on TikTok. If you start a YouTube and you get 500 subscribers and you just start trying to migrate them to Instagram, I mean, you're asking something for your audience before you've really given them that much and before they know you. I think that you have to think about that relationship and make sure that audience is in a place where they would want to follow you over. Because if not, it can just sound kind of desperate. They know Instagram exists. They know you have an Instagram. Do I think that eventually you should be thinking about that? Absolutely. I didn't take Instagram seriously enough when it started. I had a big Tumblr following, and I didn't work at all to move my Tumblr following to Instagram. Instagram got more important, Tumblr was already dead, and there was no way for me to talk to those followers, and they just kind of disappeared, as did my clout on the internet. One way to look at that is to say that I didn't work hard enough to migrate my audience from Tumblr to Instagram. But honestly, I would say the more true statement is that I didn't invest enough in Instagram as its own community, right? Because at the time, my Tumblr was popular for professional photos, and it was just an unwritten rule that you didn't post professional photos to Instagram. And so the shit I was doing on Tumblr didn't translate to Instagram. I didn't think about how can I use my camera phone and the square to do something interesting. And so I don't think it's as much about migrating your audiences as it is about understanding the platform that you are operating in and figuring that community out and building a community there. Okay, last question, because I talked a lot about Khloé Kardashian. Do I think there'll be increased ad dollars spent in the upcoming holiday season? The holiday season is where brands spend the vast majority of their marketing budget. If you are not thinking about your holiday campaigns today, I think you're too late. Not to say you can't fix it. You need to be thinking about that right now. And maybe we want to cut this out for IGTV because this is a nugget of wisdom for y'all. The thing I would do right after watching this video is I would go to my Instagram, I would start at December 25th and I would work backwards until November 1st, and I would write down every single sponsored post I did. I will email every one of those brands today. Not next week, not in 2 weeks, email them today. How are you doing? Loved the campaign that we worked on last holiday season. Would love to know what you guys have planned because I'm already starting to fill up. That's called creating a sense of urgency. Does it have to be true? Absolutely not. No, ideally it's not true. But it's filling up. I'm reaching out to you because we had such a great partnership last year. I would love to expand on it. I know my audience loved it. Here's some of the comments if you forgot how excited people were. Oh, also, since then I've grown 30,000 followers and I've got now 50,000 followers on TikTok. So if you want to do something there, I can too, okay? Start there. And maybe we can continue to expand on what you should be doing. I don't want to overload you, but like that is something you should do today. And then in general, you should be thinking about what does that holiday schedule look like? Okay, you know every brand's about to come to you and say, I want a festive holiday theme. Well, you can't turn your whole feed red with Christmas trees and shit for 3 months, right? But every brand wants that. So are you gonna charge extra for it? What's the first one gonna be? Okay, is it gonna include your family or not? Do you charge extra for that? How many sponsored posts are you gonna do? We try and say you should be doing 25, 30% max. That should be the top end of sponsored posts. You know it's gonna get heavier in the holidays. Can you go to 50? Probably not. If that's where it's gonna go, are you gonna do more organic posts? What are those gonna be? Are you gonna do a gift guide? Kind of personally over gift guides? Are you gonna sell inclusion to that or is that gonna be organic? You should start thinking about that stuff because brands have already thought about it. They've already set their holiday budgets. The train is leaving the station. It is better for you to be proactive, for you to think about exactly what you want to do with your holiday season rather than just like sitting back and waiting until you feel completely overwhelmed. Think about it now, set your rules, go out there, reach out to your last clients, retention, start with your old clients. Your last client is more valuable than your next one. Your last follower is more important than the next one that you're going to get. And I'm sure you will have a great holiday season. And if you don't have any ideas on what to get your audience, if you want to give a little something back, maybe you could do a giveaway for bedazzled Febreze bottles like Khloé. As always, send your questions, subscribe to our YouTube. You can listen to this podcast, but you're going to miss all the fun video editing where Aaron makes fun of me. And ask questions, send me the posts for Post of the Week, and I'll see you guys next week.